Hi friends, I'm here with my helper Rory. I'm Eileen, and tonight we're going to talk about setting up a sacred space in your home. We've all been spending a lot of time in our homes, maybe more than we used to lately, and so tonight is about setting up a little sacred space here at home, and a home altar, we might call it. That's what we call it. And so you might have a lot of questions about this, and your first question possibly is, what is a home altar? Do you know? Well, it could be any place in your home, and it doesn't have to be the inside of your home. It can be outside. We have a little special space in a rock garden outside our home where we have another home altar. In this case, our one tonight is inside. A special space in our home where we can go as a whole family or as individuals, one at a time, to have some quiet, to listen deeply to what we maybe could call that still small voice inside of us, to connect with our most deep self, the self that is most truly us, to feel like we're most at home, to find a sense of calm or peace or quiet. And so that's what we're going to work on setting up tonight, and it could look all kinds of different ways. But we're going to set one up for us, and then maybe you'll set one up for yourselves and you'll show us in a picture or a video. You could post it in the comments below. We'd love to see that. So we started out with a little table in the office at our house, and then we laid this cloth to add a little softness and a little color on top of this little table. And so what we like to focus on, I think, is elements that connect us to the earth, that make us feel, our lights are flickering a little, that's exciting, that make us feel connected to the earth, because that makes us feel connected to our deep selves as people with bodies and connected to one another. We all live on this earth. So first we're going to add, I like to add a living thing. So I have a little jade plant here. You might have a bouquet of fresh flowers. Let me not block your face, huh, pal? Or some buds from outside, or twigs that you found in a park, some acorns, something that is or was alive feels important because it connects us to life itself. It reminds us that, hey, we're alive, just like this plant. And that's okay. And remember last week we said there's no perfection in a pandemic. We'll just have some flickering lights. That's okay. So I have this little jade plant rather than a different kind of plant or a bouquet of flowers, because they don't need a lot of water. And so then I don't have to feel too guilty about letting a plant die when I forget to water it. This one I only have to water a great once in a while, and that's just the right kind of plant for me. But you might have a different plant that's right for you in your home. So on our altar, we're also gonna have, you can light that, a little chalice, because this is important to our religious tradition, Unitarian Universalism. And you know what? Lots of religious traditions have fire as a pretty central piece to their practices. So it wouldn't surprise me if your home sacred space had an element of fire. Ours is a pretend fire, so that it's safe for everybody in our house to use. Except the baby. I guess it's a choking hazard, but he doesn't really use the home altar much, I've got to admit. But maybe you have real fire in your home, if that feels safe for everybody. It could be a good way to start a practice here at the home altar by lighting the flame, like Rory just did. Another thing I have that I'm going to have here on our altar is a little book of meditations, because I really connect most deeply with my own self by reading and writing. And so this is a book I've been reading through called To Wake to Rise on our spiritual month of liberation in our church. This is meditations on justice and resilience. So I'm going to put this here so I remember to read one of those when I sit here at the altar. And then Rory has a few things to add too, some things that are really special to him. Do you want to tell us about them or just put them down? Just put them down. Okay. So I'm going to say what they are when you put them down. This is a speckled rock. Okay. What else we got? The shell of a snail who's no longer inside. And the shell of a sea creature, maybe a scallop. There's also no longer inside. It's from the beach, huh? And then a very shiny greenish rock. These are all special to you, and you might like to touch them when you're sitting here. Hold one in your hand and feel how heavy it feels. Think about the creatures that used to live in these shells. So some other things you might think about adding that we've thought about adding but haven't done today are some prayer beads, which could be another, like these rocks, another nice thing to hold while you're saying prayers, or a mantra, like our mantra last week was, there's no perfection in a pandemic. You don't always have to get things just right, do we? And we won't. Or it could just be the motion itself of flipping through a strand of beads with your thumb and your finger gives you a little quietness in your body, in your mind, in your heart. Did you forget one? We can always add it later. The beauty of a home altar. Another thing you might think about putting here is a journal. If you're a writer, or if you want to try and take notice of where your thoughts are going while you're sitting here, a journal might be a good thing to put here. And also, if you are new to using a sacred space at home, then you might think about some prompts for what to do when you're here, because that's the next question you might be wondering. When I come to the sacred space, what am I supposed to do? So you might put some little cards with prompts written on them that say, think of something you feel grateful about. Yeah. Or even just, how are you feeling right now? Check in with your feelings. Or might have a mantra for you to repeat over and over to think through. Might have a little poem for you to read. And we talked about spending some time with something alive, spending some time with fire, spending some time with pieces of the earth, rocks, things that used to be alive, right? Shells that came from animals, with our words that come from human thought. And then I think the other thing to do is to spend some time with our breath here at the home sacred space, right? In our home altar, is to sit and breathe. If you can't think of what else to do, that's always a good idea, to sit and breathe and notice. Notice what's going on inside of you. Can you turn that one back on, please? Turn right back on for me. Notice what's going on inside of you. Notice what's going on around you. From our space right here, we chose this spot for the table because we can look right out of our window at our pear tree outside. And there's lots to notice there. And noticing is a good spiritual practice. If you can't figure out what to do, breathing is a good idea, and noticing is a good idea. So let us know what good ideas you have. If you create a spiritual space in your home, if you create a home altar, show us what it looks like. And we'll see you on Thursday, friends.